Brother Sewing and Crafting family. I'm Angela Wolf, brand ambassador, and we are at your side virtually. Today we are taking over the Brother Sewing and Crafting Facebook and YouTube page, and I can see all your comments. So say hi, say where you're from. Today we have the fabulous Cindy Hogan, and wait till you see the project that she has in store for you today. So you're not going to want to miss this one. In fact, you probably already are going to want to share it if you're on Facebook because you're going to want to watch it over. It's a great project. So hi, Arnell, great to see you. By the way, I hope you all had a fabulous weekend. I have some funny things for you, but I'll share those with you tomorrow on our usual show. But let's bring Cindy up and not make her wait. Hey, Cindy, how are you?
I'm great. How about yourself, Miss Angela?
Oh, I'm doing fabulous. I cannot wait for this project. So when you and I started talking about this a week or two ago, and we were brainstorming on what would be something really fun, kind of back to school, but maybe not back to school, this turned out even cuter than I thought.
Yeah, it just kept growing. The project kept growing. It can be used for a reward chart at home or a reward chart at school. And I liked I kind of made it to where, as a teacher, as the year goes on, your goals for your children change. So I made it to where nothing is set in stone, and besides the basic elements. Which
so can I bring up the photo?
Sure.
Bring up the big reveal. Everybody's rolling in on YouTube and Facebook. Hello, hello, hello. Wait till you see. All right, check it out.
So I'll zoom in a little bit so they can get a little bit better of an idea of what we got here.
All right, look close.
Now, if you haven't gathered, there's a ribbon across the top that's different than the other ribbons. It probably wouldn't have happened if I hadn't have run out of red and white polka dotted ribbon and I couldn't find it anywhere. So I found some red grosgrain ribbon and I made my own for the top. It needed something. When I got to the end, I'm like, boy, that top really needs something.
That is so cute. That is so cute. So if you all cannot see, I'm going to bring it up real close one more time here.
Head. Zoom in a little bit more.
Head of the class. She actually used a Mickey head for the A. I love that. And why don't you explain what this is? Because this uses so many different applications from our Brother products that you're going to really get carried away here.
So yeah, the ribbon has heat transfer vinyl on it. So it's just a black heat transfer vinyl that I made Mickey and Minnie heads going across, and I'll show you how to do that. And I used the vinyl auto blade on that one. I used the vinyl auto blade on the head of the class. I did create head of the class without the Mickey head in it in Canvas Workspace because I just find it easier to use than working on a small screen. But when you're using Mickey, you can't do that. So I'll show you how to put that part together. We'll just do the letter head. All of the felt, all of these pieces are interchangeable. So they're stuck on with hook and loop tape. I actually only use the hooks because I'm on felt. And they just interchange in and out. So, I mean, you could make this however you want. If you want solid Mickey heads, you could do solid Mickey heads. If you want mini heads instead, you could do mini heads. There is a half and half on the new 330D. I got to remember which one I'm on. There's a new half and half for both Mickey and Minnie. So if they get the first half of the day, they get to stick their little head on there. If they get the second half of the day, they get to do the second one. You could do it for home. So you could put your chores across the top or the chores on the side, your days of the week. You make it to fit your lifestyle, what you want to do. And as a teacher, as I said, what I had as a goal today may not happen tomorrow. So I made it to where you could pull things on and off and just replace them out. The only thing that would be a constant would probably be my day. And basically the head at the top and then the mini head on the other side. The mini head has a bow on it that's made out of stretch lycra, and that was cut with the rotary auto blade. All of the felt was cut with a rotary auto blade. You could do it with fleece if you wanted to. I felt like the hook and loop tape would stick better. The sticky hook and loop tape would stick better to felt, so I chose felt instead. You can make this totally no-sew, or you can do like I've done and applique it. So I actually glued it down, glued everything besides the heads down first so that my ribbon wouldn't move as much, and then stitched across the top of it. But it could be totally a no-sew.
I love that ribbon, the little bow that you put on her head. So you cut that itsy bitsy thing with the new rotary blade, and that's stretch lycra, which most people would say there's no way that's going to work.
Yes, stretch lycra, and it works beautifully. Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
I will say I used my standard mat on that one instead of the low tack mat. So really you kind of match your mat to what your fabric slickness is. The slicker the fabric, the more tack you need.
Oh, this is going to be so much fun. I think I need one of these. I could think of a lot of things for Win and I put it on the fridge.
Days of the week. I mean, you could do a lot of different things. You could make it a calendar if they show up for class. You know, it just depends on what you want to do. So you can certainly make this for home, for children, for grandchildren, whatever you want to do with it. And you could make it non-Disney if you wanted to. I just chose to go the Disney route because I thought this would be really cute. But like I said, I did not think when I looked at it, I'm like, gosh, it really needs something across the top. Those Mickey and Minnie heads turned out so stinking cute, and it was so easy to do. So let's play. We're going to go from today, just so we don't have to clean our mat as often. We're going to go from our less fuzzy stuff to the most fuzzy stuff. So we'll start with heat transfer vinyl, and we'll work our way up, because hopefully we'll get them all of the little different pieces, parts done, and you'll be able to do it. Now, I did use a chalk marker to mark everything off. My finished one was 36 by 36. I've got a mini one that we can show you. So it was a yard by yard. So I've got a mini one that I've got filled out to show you how I did things, but we'll start with making the heads.
So Josie, don't worry, she's going to get to that, the size of everything. You're on it.
The little baby heads here are 2 inches. So the half and halves are 2 inches tall. The big ones, I believe I made 4 to 4.5. It really just depends on what you make how big you make your project. You're going to size it to the area you need to go to. Those can be made much smaller. I mean, across the top, those little Mickey and Minnies across the top, these are a 1/2 inch.
Oh,
teeny tiny. Let's see if I can show it that way.
Itsy bitsy.
They are itsy bitsy. So yeah, you can make those teeny tiny.
Cindy, I'm sorry. Kelly gets the key for the day. She needs to make one of these for David so he knows which wine to buy each day.
Today I get Cabernet.
I was thinking, Kelly, for Win, I should have one like what day to restock the ice cream, the hot fudge.
When does the cheesecake get delivered? Is my Dove chocolate still in the house?
I know you're going to show this whole project, but just real quick, a lot of people don't know about the rotary blade yet. If you missed it last week, we showed a lot about the new products that came out for Brother, but the rotary blade, what ScanNCuts will that work on?
All DX models. So anything that has the auto blade technology in it can use the rotary auto blade. Things above the 650. So the 650W can't use it because it does not have the auto blade technology. Anything with a DX behind it, SDX 225, SDX 225F, SDX 330D, SDX, excuse me, 230D, SDX 230DX. So anything with a DX on the, that has the DX, because that's the auto blade technology, can use the rotary auto blade kit. It is purchased as a kit and comes with 63 rotary auto blade patterns. And some of those are just so stinking cute. It's not even funny.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. So you're going to start with the vinyl.
Yes. Okay. So Linda, one of the things I want to say is, okay, if you don't want felt stuck on your mat, yes, you could put freezer paper on the back of it. But the beauty of the rotary auto blade is that we don't have to treat our fabrics anymore. So if you don't want to, you don't have to. Now, that's going to give me a fuzzy mat. Yeah, but I'm going to take a damp paper towel and wipe it off. So that's, you can just dampen a paper towel, wipe it off, and dry it off. just lightly rub across it. And that works very well. I mean, it's the same thing as using a baby wipe, basically, except for baby wipes aren't as moist.
Gail's all excited. She doesn't have to buy a new machine for this. Yay!
Yeah, but there's so many things. I'm telling you, if you've got a luminaire, you probably want a 325 or a 330D because it really does some cool stuff on the luminaire.
Definitely.
Okay, so let me flip cameras and we'll start with creating the ribbon. So that we'll, like I said, we're going to start from least fuzzy and go to most fuzzy.
And this is what you're making, just in case you just popped in late. So don't forget, if you want to watch the whole replay, just click share it to your page, or share it to on YouTube. You can subscribe and you can go back and watch it there too. So
yeah.
All right.
Okay. So let's start with making ribbons. What I did on my ScanNCut here is I went into my Disney category because we are doing Disney today, but you could do any pattern you want to this way, guys. It does, you know, it's not definitely this machine. So new category, Disney appliques are on this machine. And I'm going to show you where to find a Mickey and Minnie head if you don't have this. These are just easy to grab because they are separate, okay? So I've got DSFM07. That's a Mickey head. I took that down as far as it would go right here, and it only goes to 1.19 inches. That's as low as I can go on this screen. But I can go ahead and take it further. I'm going to go ahead and set that, come into my edit screen and go into object edit. Now I can actually resize it further down. And I took it down to 1/2 inch. All right, so now we've got him at 1/2 inch. I basically did 6 Mickeys across. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my number and increase that to 6. All right, so now let's select them all and do a little magic. I've got them all selected. We're going to go into this arrow here. When you go in here, you have a new, it's not new, but it's kind of hidden. This is your alignment tool. So we can take them and we can say, I want you all to the top, and then I want you all spread out evenly across. Well, that didn't do much for me. So let's just touch OK, deselect one, and I'm going to take him and move him across the screen. Take him as far over as I can get him. Actually, I think I need a mini on the end, if I recall correctly. So now let's select them all. And this is kind of magical. When you go into this screen and you go back into your alignment tools, you choose distribute and see how it spaces them evenly apart. So now we're ready to add mini in. So I'm going to go ahead and touch OK and touch my add tool. Go back to my pattern list. And I'm going to show you where those other mini heads are, just so Mickey and Minnie heads are. So in case you don't have the 330D, you can still do this. These are just a little bit different. So if I go down through here, you'll notice I have a Mickey and a Minnie here inside of a frame. Let's touch that and touch OK. Now you'll notice it's broken down into the parts, so I can just grab my Minnie head. And the Mickey is the same way. So let's take it as small as we can go. Again, that's as small as it's going to go. So we'll set it and move it down here. Now let's go into edit. Once again, object edit, and let's make her 1/2 inch. Any questions so far, Angela?
Nope, you keep rolling. The questions are more based on specific things about the blade kit, and we can grab that when you're done.
All right. So now I've got it at 1/2 inch. I'm going to take it and move it. Actually, we're going to go in here and duplicate it 6 times again. And move it all the way up here to the end. But I'm going to keep it on a different row. So now let's go in and select them. Well, I don't want to select all, so I'm going to undo that. I'm going to grab my arrow selection tool and grab around all of my mini heads. So you can see I've got my little mini heads there. Now they're all grabbed. And let's go back in here and align them. to the top, and then let's distribute them. All right. So now let's see if we can move those guys in here. Oops.
They're so tiny on that screen. It's amazing.
They are tiny. So sometimes if you touch off, which I just did, you get kind of, so I'm going to cheat here for a minute. I'm going to group them. Now I can move them as a unit. And they're going to be across there. So we're a little bit out of kilter, which is okay. So let me ungroup. And let's just take and move these guys up. Come on. Touch nice with me today. That's a Mickey. That's a Minnie. All right. So now we're going to select them all. Let's go ahead and make this guy go to the end. Play nice with me. Oh, wrong one. There we go. I want that one as far over to the right as I can get her. Okay, so now we're ready to go. Let's select them all. Let's align them to the top. So go back in here, align top, and distribute. So now they are all perfectly spaced for me. And I have, let's zoom in. I should have a Minnie head on the end and a Mickey head on the beginning, right? All right, sweet. We're ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and touch OK. And if I cared what direction these went, I would mirror them, but it's not going to matter. So let's go ahead and object edit. Actually, I want to select all and group them together in case I want to move them on my media. If I know I don't need to, then I won't do that, but I may need to. So let's load this mat in. And I actually did cut 2 of these. So I'll go ahead and duplicate that once for us. So I've loaded my mat. Let's go back in and edit it. Object, edit, duplicate, and move that down below. So now we've got 2 rows. There we go. I want them a little bit apart so I can give them a weeding box around them. So let's go ahead and touch OK and touch OK. Now, I need to put in my vinyl auto blade. That is why I'm able to do such tiny detail, because it does a beautiful job. We're going to choose please select and cut. All right. So now my half cut is on because I was cutting vinyl the last time, but I'm going to tell you something. If you put your rotary blade in and half cut is on, it automatically turns it off. So you don't really have to worry if you forget to turn it off. When we switch over to the rotary blade, it will be fine. So there we go. We've got our weeding box. Let's turn it on, touch OK, and it should give me, oh, it's telling me I'm too close to the area. We'll have one and not worry about it. Let me go ahead and start. I must have shifted one too far to the right. And now it's going to cut my vinyl here. And it's going to take it a few minutes to do it. So while it's doing that, let me take you over to the camera to show you how to line your things up. Now, unless you guys want to watch this thing cut.
We always love watching it cut, especially because it's so quiet.
It is super duper quiet, and it's doing a beautiful job there. So I'm going to go ahead and go over here and show you what I've got hanging out while that's cutting. Otherwise, we may not get through this.
By the way, so, all of you watching, if you have questions, just post them in there, and then when we take a break, I'll grab them. And Kelly, I see your question about the what is the advantage of the Disney vinyl cutting blade kit, and we'll get to that.
Okay, so basically, I measured what I wanted to do, and you'll notice I've got chalk marks, and here's my, if you aren't paying attention and you don't have an evenly spaced. So what I decided was, let me measure this out and see how I can make evenly spaced items that are about 2 inches wide. My first one I wanted bigger because that was going to be my tasks, okay, or my names. And this is a miniature version of this project. So I did a little line and I basically glued my first strip down here. So like I said, this can be totally no-sew. And then I drew my long lines and my verticals, my horizontal and verticals. I just did a chalk marker. And I basically took, all right, so I've got 2 different kinds of glue here. And I'll tell you, I liked my clear one better, but it was too much of a pain to get it all the way on everything, but it dries really quick. So we'll put the clear on here and flip it over. And really just kind of match it to the end, or you could wrap it around the back if you prefer to wrap it around the back, that's fine. And then what I did, once I made sure that was going to be the right distance, I took the other glue and basically just took it and drew a line down. And then all you have to do is take it and put it down.
Well, that's pretty easy. I can handle that much.
I'm telling you, this can be a totally no-sew project if you want it to be. Once that dries, then I went back and did an applique stitch around the edge of it. But you could also play with your decorative stitches if you wanted to.
I was just thinking that, Cindy. Boy, if you want to play with decorative stitches, that's a perfect opportunity to stitch those in place. Use your laser light to make sure it's straight. You could really get carried away on this one.
Yeah, you truly can have fun with it. So here's my ribbon that I'm going to make out of the other. And our vinyl is done cutting. So I'm going to go ahead and take it out and make a nice little loud noise for you. Let me see if where am I?
Everyone's awake. Everyone's awake. Everyone's animals are like, what the heck was that?
Yeah. What happened there? Okay. Let's see if I can keep from tripping over stuff here. Here's my heat transfer vinyl. Now, that weeding square that I did that worked for one and not for the other because I had it shifted gives me a cut line that I can just cut across here. The other one I'm going to have to kind of eyeball because I missed the boat on moving it. Not that big of a deal.
While you're cutting that, I just see, hey, Penny, welcome to the party. She's from Alabama. Where can you find a brother dealer? If you go to brothersews.com and scroll to the bottom, it'll say find your dealer. You click on that and you put in your zip code and it'll show you, you can pick like how far away it is and it'll show you whichever ones are closest to you. So hope that helps.
So here's my little mini heads.
Oh my gosh, they're so tiny.
They are teeny tiny. And I will tell you, I did everything with my iron. I did not pull out my heat press for this.
Wow.
You want to make sure you get all your little fuzzies off of there. Let's grab the other ones. And I'm cheating. I'm using this because my pick is on the other side over there. I'm just using an old needle here. We use what's near us. And the pin cushion was closer than the weeding tool across the way. And there we go. Perfect. Okay, so you've got this and you've got this. And you'll notice I've put chalk marks on each end. That's where I want my Mickey and Minnie to begin and end. So I eyeballed it. If you are more anal than I am, you could obviously do something besides eyeballing. So as you remember, I ended with a Minnie, and I started with a Mickey. So I am, if you are really wanting to make sure that it's the right distance, you can obviously measure it. We are going to eyeball it. Oh, it's sticking to it's got a little static cling in it today here. All right, so I am happy with that placement. I would then take and put a pressing cloth over the top of it and use my iron for, I had it like a medium to medium high temperature on my iron, and I pressed in place on top of a piece of stone, basically, for 20 seconds. If it didn't adhere, I went back and put it back again and just move it on each side. Press, don't iron. And I would cut basically and leave the extra to do something else with. Once you've done that, you can glue it on there. Is that
Oh my gosh,
simple enough?
so cute.
So if you can't find that right ribbon, you can certainly do this. I could have done polka dots if I wanted to, but I thought that kind of added a little bit of something extra to it.
So I'm going to bring up just for those that are just popping in, I'm bringing up your original just so they could just compare. If you look at the top, that's the band that she made for this little chart. So, all right, back to the smaller version.
Let's go back over to the ScanNCut and let's put in head. Now, as I said, I did my text with from Canvas Workspace, but we'll go ahead and do it here on the screen.
Hey, Cindy, you have a lot of questions, by the way, when you're back at the ScanNCut. Just a handful of people want to know, what is weeding and what is a weeding box? When you mentioned that, there's about
weeding box is a square that goes around the outside edge to help you not waste your vinyl, basically. It makes it easy for you to take the excess away. Weeding is taking your excess away.
Perfect.
So I'm going to load my glitter vinyl in here. It's on my standard mat. You could use your low tack mat. We're going to go ahead and touch home to get out of here. And let's go into our pattern list and go into our alphabets. Trying to see if they have the same one that I used. We do not have the same one I used on mine, but that doesn't matter. We can use something else. So how about we pick this one? And we'll do H, lowercase, EAD. I went ahead and did the A, but you could backspace out of that, put a space in, and do D if you don't want to have the rest of it. I'm going to go ahead and set it, and then I'm going to make it the size I want it. And I think I made that one about 4 inches wide. So let me come in, go edit, and let's go object edit, and let's increase our size to about 4 inches wide. All right, I'm good with that. I'm not fussy on this one. Now we need to bring in a Mickey head. And we want to go in and choose add, pattern, go into our Disney category. And if you wanted to, if you don't have this model, you could go the route that I showed you before. But I'm going to go ahead and grab this one because he's easy to grab. And just set him. And now we want to resize him to where he's about the size of our text. I'm not worried about how much space he has between him. So I'm going to go object edit, resize. And we are just going to change that height down to where it's about the right height of that E.
That's such a cute idea.
Okay, so now we're good. We've got our HED and we've got our mouse head. We'll go ahead and touch OK. Touch OK again, touch OK again. And I am ready to please select, cut. Now I'm going to go ahead and add my weeding box back in. So go into my settings, go to page 2, turn my weeding box back on. There we go. You can see I've got squares around both of my items. And I know they're going to fit on here, so I'm not worried about the background scan. I've got them both within my vinyl. I'm going to turn a test cut on this time because I was cutting a different style of vinyl the last time. I'm going to go ahead and turn on a test cut. And that'll check my blade depth and pressure for me. Go ahead and press start. I could have said I'm going to trust my auto blade. But since glitter vinyl is a different thickness and a different density than the regular heat transfer vinyl, it is always a good idea to do a double check. All right, so let's see here. I got to see where I've put it.
It's an itsy bitsy.
Well, I be darned, I can't see it. Oh, there it is. Okay.
I'm bringing this up while she's doing that. You can see where she used the Mickey ears right here and right here for the A, for the head and the class, just in case you popped in and missed this.
Okay, so we're good. It cut perfectly. We're going to go ahead and press start. If it did not, I would back up and adjust my pressure. Just so we're clear on that, I would say test again, move my test circle, and adjust my pressure. So if it was too deep, I would lessen my pressure. If it was too light, I would increase my pressure. Your goal is to cut through the vinyl, but not through the carrier sheet on the back. And this is going to take it just a minute. And once we've done this, we'll go to our little squares. So I'm going to come back to my table here and send something from Canvas Workspace. Okay, so it's done cutting. We'll go ahead and touch OK.
Here you go. Everyone, get your ears ready.
All right, so let's go back over and look at how we line this guy up. Now, you can see how those little weeding boxes make a nice little cut place for you.
You can actually, we can now see your itsy bitsy test cut too.
Yeah. I am a big believer in test cuts when I'm doing vinyl, because what you cut the last time is usually a different thickness than what you're cutting this time.
Lois said when she first looked at this, she thought it said She heard heard of the class, not head of the class. That's funny. I guess we could be that too.
I mean, you could put household special. I mean, you can play with this and have when you do whatever you want it to say. You obviously don't have to do what I chose.
I like it. I could think of so many things. Make the bed, did the dishes, do the dishes, take the trash out. Again, make sure the ice cream is stocked.
Yeah, you can truly have fun with this.
Feed the squirrels.
Feed the squirrels, yeah. Clean the fishing rods. Get your tackle ready. I can see Wynn's list now.
You know, his birthday's coming up in September. I might have to come up with something really fun for this.
Oh, y'all know what I didn't do?
What?
I did not mirror my pattern.
Uh-oh.
So this is going to be backwards, but you'll get the point.
So
see, yeah, it's going to be backwards.
Might be funnier anyways. Now it's going to be, what is it going to read?
It's going to be DEAH. My suggestion is that you mirror your pattern, and I forgot to do that. I'll show you where that is on the ScanNCut, though. So here's what I did. I took a ruler, and I made sure I picked a line and put my text down. Okay? Because this is your carrier sheet is sticky, and so this makes it easy if you just put it along a straight line.
Can you just lift that up just a little bit? Cindy, we can't see that. We can't see your hands. Oh, there you go.
Pick a straight line on your ruler. So I've picked this one right here. Now I'm going to tuck this up underneath and make sure it's on my straight line. There we go. And then take my D and make sure it's on my straight line. Make sure that there's no carrier sheet that's going to touch your glitter, to where when you go to press them, see, I've got a little Mickey head carrier sheet right there. So I need to come in and trim that off. So now I can go press that as a single unit if it were the correct direction, and I'd be ready to go. Any questions on that?
No, everybody's laughing about the mirror image.
Yeah, you know, it's live and we aren't thinking real fast. But you'll make that mistake more than once, let me assure you. I usually have somebody in my class saying, mirror it, mirror it.
Hey, Sherry
Nobody was
said,
looking out for me today.
Sherry has a quick question for you. She came in late and she wants to know what is the base, that's just felt down there, isn't it?
It is just inexpensive craft felt.
Felt. That's it. Felt.
Wrong machine there. So let me show you where that mirror would be, because I talked about it the first time, but I didn't do it this time. So let's go to our arrow here and touch. I've got something weird going on. In Object Edit, this is your mirror tool. So notice how it mirrored that. That's what you've got. So if I wanted to mirror both of them, I could touch the other one and mirror it as well. But the head itself doesn't matter.
Linda says now it'll be a selfie chore chart.
Do what?
A selfie chore chart. You know, when you take a selfie, everything's always backwards.
Yeah, there you go. So you do have to mirror it. All right. So that is those. Now let's go to let's make our Mickey and Minnie heads for the top. What I did was I measured from where the top of my ribbon was. So let's see here. If I sewed all my parts together first. So everything was stuck down and everything was sewn together. And then I came in and I measured how far is it from here to here. And let's see, that is basically 5.5 inches. So I could make my Mickey 5. I could make him 4.5. Depends on how big you want him to be. It's up to you. I'm going to make him 4.5 today just because. So let's go into our patterns. And once again, we're just grabbing the heads, the single heads. I'm going to do Minnie instead of Mickey because she's the one that we want to think about.
Will you take us back to that screen?
Sorry.
There we go.
There we go. This one.
Okay,
so
yeah, go back.
Let's go back.
Thank you.
I went into my
they're so
Disney applique. What?
They're so cute. I love all the Mickey ones in there.
These are really, really cute ones. So if you wanted to have more fun, you could do a half and half. So you see how you've got a half top and a half bottom? That would be really cute. So you can play and have fun with these. You could make a chart for, if you didn't make these permanent, you can make one seasonal. So let me come back in and grab my Mickey head, my Minnie head actually. I want to do Minnie because I want you to see how the bow is done. The cutting out the felt is going to be the same regardless of whether you do Mickey or Minnie. Doing the bow is specific to Minnie. So I went ahead and touched and made my Minnie head 4.5 and set it. So now I'm going to go back in here and you'll notice I picked the one that had the bow embedded in it. There is another Minnie in here, and she does have a bow on her already. However, she didn't have the place for you to match it. So if I go down here, let's see here, where is she? There's the Minnie with the bow. I'm just going to go ahead and grab her bow because you'll see it's the Mickey head with a bow. You could do that. I just wanted to have a placement for it. So I went ahead and touched set. I brought it over here on top, and now I went to edit it to see how big it needed to be. You know, guys, that's almost perfect. But if you want it a little bit smaller, you can make it a little bit smaller. So let's go in and go, okay, object edit, and let's shrink. Oops, I don't want to. I want to shrink it in. We'll just make it a little bit smaller. And let's zoom in and see if we like it. That's pretty good.
Oh, that's adorable. You cut that itsy bitsy thing with that stretch fabric. Are you kidding me?
Yes, I cut it with stretch fabric.
Wow.
Okay, so I'm good with that. So let's go ahead and move this to the side, and I'm going to save this to my machine so I don't forget what size it is, and it's there. I can't save it to a USB. I can only save it to my machine. So I want to make sure that I save it to my machine because it's a Mickey or a Disney design. So let's go in here and edit, and let's get rid of the head. Like I said, we're going to go from least messy to most messy. So I'm going to take my vinyl auto blade out, And let's put in our rotary auto blade. So this is our rotary auto blade. It has a blade that swivels. That's what's auto about it, is it adjusts the blade angle, okay? Now let's find our stretchy lycra. And this is not just stretchy lycra, it's stretchy lycra with a shine. So, and if you look here, this is a lycra bow.
So just a quick question. Does that stretchy lycra stretch 4 ways, 2 ways?
Let's see. Stretch. Mostly 2 ways, but I mean, it does do a little give.
Okay, just out of curiosity. That's all.
Let me rotate it. And here's what I'm going to do, guys. Take my brayer and put it, make sure it's good and adhered to my standard tack mat. That's really all you have to do. And I mean, you're really you will play with your different fabrics to see which one sticks best on which mat. Which one's best for that. Okay, so let's come in and move my head over and let's do a background scan. Let me go back. So I moved my head over. I'm going to do a background scan to make sure that it's going to be in the right place, that I have enough material here. I should, but I am using a scrap, so we do want to make sure. And how am I doing on time? Wow.
You're doing great.
Lot to cover today. I didn't know that we would get this much in this one. So, okay, there we go. We're going to go ahead and touch OK. We're going to choose please select and tell it to cut. Rotary auto blade does not care about pressure. It cares about angles. So there are 2 different modes. There is a fine and a normal mode. I'm in normal mode. If it's more detailed, you might want to choose fine. I do need to tell you that it is going to take significantly longer to cut in fine mode. So let's watch it cut. Because this one's kind of fun to watch, because it actually, you can watch it adjusting its angle. And if you're not sure if you've got the right stickiness of mat, that is when I do my test cut. So like mine's kind of lifting up there. I may have needed to clean my mat in between. So I did not get a real clean cut that time, but not too bad because that wasn't stuck well to my mat. But there you go.
That looks great. Cindy, everybody's saying that they love watching this live because a lot of times we just say, do this, do that, but to watch it and to be able to go back and watch this video with their scan and cut and follow along is excellent.
Yeah, that is the goal, is that you guys get the full effect of that. So let's do our mini head. I am going to grab a mat that is clean here. And I guess I should say, would you rather the squares or the mini head? I think we need to do the mini head. So I'm going to put my felt down here, and I'm using my standard mat on this one as well. I normally use a low tack on this, but if I'm doing more than one thing, I would rather have more sticky than less. Secure is always better than insecure unless it is a shreddable fabric. And I just lost my stylus. There it is. Those things just, they go away. All right, so let's go home. And let's go back into our retrieve data, because that's where we saved our mini head in the machine. And I'll go to my last page. There she is. Let's go touch OK. And edit and get rid of the bow this time. Okay, so now we're down to our mini head. Let's scan her.
Hey, Cindy.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that's cutting. There's quite a few people that say, hey, I have got the new fabric mat. Could I use the fabric mat for this? Will that work with the rotary blade?
You can use any of the mats in your arsenal, depending on what you're cutting. So you don't want to use the fabric mat on a cotton unless you've treated it, just simply because it will shred when you take it off. Cleaning felt off your fabric mat is not my favorite activity. So, I mean, you really want to think about what you're putting down on the mat before you choose. But now lace, if it's not going to be, I haven't had to use my fabric mat for this, to be honest. It just depends on the movement. Usually a good clean standard mat or your low tack mat works beautifully. So I'm going to clean my mat while that one's doing its thing.
Oh, perfect. Mary J wants to know, what are you using to clean your mat with? Because she needs to clean her mat.
Well, I'm using a wet paper towel.
There you go.
And I'm just taking it and rubbing it across it until all of my fuzzies are gone. I'm not scrubbing it, I'm rubbing it. And then I'm going to take a dry paper towel and go back over the top of it. Oh, wrong one. So we are done cutting. Let's look and see what we've got. Let's reveal. There's our mini head. So now we can go back over there, and I will have to clean this one, so we may as well just take care of that while we're at it.
We love we love watching the cleaning process. Marilyn wants to know, did it automatically turn half cut off with this last fabric that you had?
Yes, it automatically turns half cut off when you're doing rotary blade, which is awesome.
Yeah.
You don't have to remember. Okay, so I'm going to dry this and set it out. I'm going to let it sit over here for a minute to dry. And let's clean this one off. Because next we're going to do our little heads.
Oh, you're welcome, Mary J. See, you knew what she was going to do. You didn't even know it, but you had a premonition. Somebody's got to clean these mats off, right?
Yeah, you definitely want to clean them off in between. And this has really been one of my best things that I've figured out. So I've got my fuzzies off. I'm just going to take my dry paper towel and wipe it across it. Now, as I said, I'm rubbing it. I'm not scrubbing it. And my paper towel is not soaking wet, but it is damp. And then as it starts to dry, it will start getting sticky again. We're going to give it a few minutes to dry. That one's not dry yet. So let me show you what your Minnie and Mickey heads look like. So here's your mini head. And basically you just put your bow on top of it. You can glue them together or you can stitch them down with the applique stitch.
Hey, Cindy, will you put that, like maybe use the mat as a back, because the black on black, you can't see it very well. There you go. Oh gosh, that is so cute. I could see, okay, I know that we're not supposed to get off topic and this is for a chart, but I could see using that for little items. If you had a dinner party, if you have a little birthday party, putting people's names on it, just that right there would be adorable.
This mini head turns out so cute.
Oh, I love it.
And once you put if you applique it with a red, see, look here, guys. If you applique it with a red thread, it makes it pop. So here we go. I must have a spot that's not sticky right there, but both mats are now clean. So let's go ahead and put us some red felt down.
Hey, by the way, Jane has a question for you, and I know this comes up a lot, and this is not a Brother product, but a lot of times we talk about using baby wipes that are non-alcoholic or non-alcohol.
Baby wipes without alcohol, yes. Alcohol-free baby wipes.
Yeah, you can use either, Jane. Either's fine.
You certainly can. Just sometimes your baby wipes dry out, and I always have a paper towel on hand.
And if it works, use it.
Yep. All right, so we've got our red felt on, and let's go make our little half and halves.
Okay.
And I lost my stylus again.
You don't even, well, I can't say that. I was going to say somebody just, I think it was May's new puppy took hers. And I was going to say, you don't even have a dog to do that. You do. So blame it on the dog, Cindy. Blame it on the
Okay. Yeah, it's just gone off on its own tangent. Who knows where I've lost it? They are like gold in my house because I always lose them. All right. So I went into the patterns and I selected Mickey again, and I went back into my applique category and I selected the half and half. So I've got tons of Mickey heads. I don't have any minis right now. The beauty of this is they are symmetrical. So once you set this up for one of them, you're good to go. I'm going to make mine 2 inches tall because I think my squares were like 2.5. And I'm going to pick one of the halves. And I'm going to come and say, okay, give me as many as I can throw on this mat. And I believe it's around 45, but we'll see. So I'll go above that and see what it tells me. Oh, it gave me 45. So we're good. I'm going to touch background scan. I put in 47 and it went all the way. Now I do need a stylus for this next activity. So I got to find one. Go to another machine. And after I'm done with this class, with this Facebook Live, I'll go find and gather. All right, so you can see I've background scanned, and you can see I've got a couple of pieces sticking out. So I'm going to come and move those in, but I want to make sure they're not touching anything else. And I can come in and grab, I think I can take some of these and rotate them. So let's go into our edit screen, object edit, and let's rotate left. There we go. I'm going to take this one, move it down, and rotate it left. This is why I used my standard mat instead of the low tack mat on this, is because I wanted to make sure when I cut all these heads that they would stay on my mat. So there we go. I'm going to go ahead and touch OK. Touch OK again. I have my rotary auto blade in there. It is going to cut all of those at one time for me. And this is pretty cool when it gets done. So let's go ahead and start it, and I'll come answer some questions while this one's cutting.
It's so quiet. All right, there aren't too many questions. We've been answering them all along. Someone just had a quick question that, is there are you using a backing on that felt base? So it would be this. I'll bring this up real quick so they can see this, the whole chart. Is there a backing on that felt at all?
Nope, there is not. Hold on. I'll come up to my ScanNCut machine. Felt on both sides.
There you go.
And all I did was use the hook dots. Let me zoom in so you can see. So it's basically inexpensive craft felt on both sides. And you can see there's my heat transfer vinyl. And then there's my hook dots. Let's let it go back to cutting. Anything else?
Now let me just go back up here and check. A lot of people are just loving it. It's so cute. Let's see. Doris, you had a question, and I was going to ask you what you meant by that. Only a rotary blade. So I'm not sure what you mean by that, because you don't have to use the rotary blade. It just makes it easier to cut these really tiny pieces out of crazy fabric.
The rotary blade is for non-traditional fabrics. So with craft felt, traditionally we had to back it with something. Otherwise, the freezer paper method did not work that well. So I usually had to put double-sided adhesive to it, something to give it more body. Because your fabrics that have body to them that move, with a traditional blade, the blade drags across it. With this blade, it's rolling instead of dragging, so you can do non-traditional materials.
Nice. And then there's one more here, and So Pat, she says, can I get a template for this if I don't have this Brother ScanNCut? Well, Pat, you could still follow along. She gave you all the measurements at the beginning and just get creative on how you're going to do that. So if you have any ScanNCut, you could use other items than the half Mickeys and Minis, but you could still make the chart.
Yes, the update last year gave us the weeding box on the ScanNCut machine itself.
That was the best thing ever. Have you seen some of the designs last year that came out? They were so intricate. In fact, I would sit there for about a half an hour trying to get everything out of there, but the weeding box made it so much faster. All right. Mary J has a question. When you cut the vinyl, which side do you place face down on the mat?
The shiny carrier side, not the glue side, the carrier side. Because you're cutting through the glue, through the media, but not through your carrier sheet. Because that's what keeps it all bound together. And this is what mine was, which means that's why you mirror, because you're cutting face down.
And Doris had a question. What she was referring to is when you turn off the half cut. Do you turn that off for the rotary blade every time?
It automatically turns it off for you.
There you go.
You don't have to worry about it. I'll show you when we go back there, I'll show you that when that rotary blade is in, half cut is not an option.
Okay, that's good to know. And then also Kim wants to know, would you use the rotary blade to cut appliques with heat and bond or some similar material on it?
No, not unless it was a weird fabric that I wasn't having success with. But usually most fabrics, when you have a backing on them, you do not need to use the rotary auto blade.
Definitely. Pat, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Cork cuts beautifully with the standard black auto blade.
You read it before, you saw it, you answered it before I could even tell you about it.
Lois is up there because I'm going to answer that one. If she watches last week's, I actually cut fleece. And I was going to do it this week, but I decided I did it last week. And the felt works better with the hook and loop tape. So I did not choose to go that route this time.
And you can go back and watch those episodes. Obviously, Cindy has them on her page that she does on Tuesdays, which, by the way, she'll be having a show today at 4:30 Eastern. And you can also go back to Brother Sew's crafting or sewing page for the YouTube or Facebook and watch last week's episodes if you missed any of the new products coming out, because there were a lot, and it's very cool.
All right, so let's show my screen for a minute here. I'm going to show you what I did in Canvas Workspace to make my squares for my felt. I could have done this on the machine. I could have come in here, grabbed my shape tool, put a rectangle or a square and made it the size I wanted it. But then they were going to be separate. And I was like, well, I don't want it to double cut anything, but so I came in and I grabbed my line drawing tool and I drew a line. And then I duplicated that line. You can copy, paste, Control C, Control V, or however many lines you're going to need. And then I took those and I went to my edit tool. I was going to show this on my page today, but we'll go ahead and do it here. And I said, I want you to distribute these 2 inches apart, vertical distribution. And then I grouped them. Oops. I'm going to grab them all. Control G will group if you happen to drop one. So now I've got my little rectangles, right? I need my end caps. So then I actually did grab a square or a rectangle. You take a pick, and I made sure it was 2 inches above, brought it into the size, and 2 inches below. So that's going to be a little bit too big for my mat. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go into my layers window and I'm going to remove one of those lines. So now I can come back in, grab this and make it 2 inches from that other one. And so now when it goes to cut, it'll go cut all of my lines in a row. So I'm going to grab it all. We're going to make sure we're aligned. So we're aligned now, and I'm going to group it. Now it moves as one unit, and I can cut all of those rectangles at one time. I'll go a little bit further into that when we talk this afternoon, but that's really what that makes this next process easy once these mini heads are done.
That makes it really easy. And a lot of people that don't realize you can use that platform, it's very easy to do that way. And you're not looking at a little screen.
Yeah. And it gives you options that you don't actually have on the ScanNCut. The line is not on the ScanNCut. So instead of doing a bunch of rectangles the same size, that just duplicating that line, now everything's going to cut out as one unit instead of different spots. I'm using any thicknesses of paper towel to clean my mat. It's what it's what I buy for my kitchen. So they are nicer paper towels. They're not the cheapos, but it's not that big. I haven't tried the cheapos because I don't have it. Yes, Mary Jo, there is a list available for shortcut keys. And that was under the, I'm trying to think. If we go to, where is that? That last, not this past update, but the update before gave us a list of all of the new shortcut keys, but it may be in here on, let's see.
We're watching it.
I actually I printed them out for myself the last time when that update came out. So I do not see them, but they're basically your standard keyboard shortcuts, like G for group, Control G, Control D for duplicate doesn't work. Control C for copy, Control V for paste. It's really the same ones that you would use in any Office program.
That's easy to remember.
I mean, they're logical. Okay, it's taken that forever. I shouldn't have done 47 of these.
Oh, that's right. So, and I know you're going to be showing some rest of this on your show this afternoon, but this has been, can you bring up the photo of the finished project one more time, just for those that rolled in a little later? There you go. So this is what she's working on.
So while it's still cutting, I can show you putting your little dots on the back of your heads. Let me find a couple of heads here.
Very cute.
Nope. Which one is it? There we go. Yeah. I had heads and I had sticky dots before we started this session today. Where did the darn things go? Oh, there they are. Okay. So here are my set of Mickey heads. I've got them, and as I said, they're interchangeable, so it doesn't matter which one you decide to put the dots on. Which side, doesn't matter. And here are my little dots, and you just stick it to the back. Evidently, one of them stuck to me. So when they go to put them on, it just sticks right there in your square. Can you see that?
Yeah, very easy. I'll bring this back up so you can see what the overall is.
That again. All right. Any other questions that I have? We're about done. It looks like that one's about done. But really, so if you want to have Mickey's only, you could do Mickey's only. If you want to have Mickey's and Minnie's, as you can see, I'm doing a bunch of Minnie's right now. But I do want to show. I can stop. I think I'm going to stop it in the middle of this one mini head so that we can just go on. Is that okay with you guys?
Sure. We are definitely past the 1 o'clock hour, but we have a few more minutes.
All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and stop it. Quit it. And I'm in the middle of a mini head. I don't really care.
Well, maybe you can leave it down there so you can go back and recut it so you don't waste it.
But here, so you can see they all come off.
Look at that.
And you can knock them out in no time. If I was a teacher still, I would want one of these machines. I will have to tell you. This would have convinced me I needed a ScanNCut in my life, because I will tell you, the amount of money that I spent, or the amount of time that I would do creating bulletin boards would have been done in a heartbeat. The stuff that I can do with this is amazing. All right, so I'm going to make sure that I'm dry. And we're going to show you those little guys cut. So here's my felt for my back. I've transferred my file from Canvas Workspace. And you could save that and use those over and over again. So if I wanted to come in here and save this, I'm going to go ahead and save it. Who knows? I may come back and finish that. It'd be a shame to waste them. But you would do the same thing for the other half, basically. So it's doing its thing. It's saved. All right, let's go home. And let's retrieve pattern from Canvas Workspace. Oh, wrong one. From Canvas Workspace. There's my pieces. So we're going to go ahead and do a background scan. And I'm only going to do one row of these so you guys can see how this works. All right, so let's go in and edit, and we'll delete that row. Okay, ready to go. We'll touch OK. This is quick as a whip. And there it goes to cutting. So let's let it do its thing. And I can't wait for you to see this one.
Everybody's loving this. They're like, this is so cute.
So you can, I mean, you can watch it adjusting the blade. When it does its little movement thing there, it's turning its blade. And you'll notice it's not pushing the fabric. It is just rolling along, just like a regular rotary blade does. So it's done. This is the ta-da moment in the world here. Looky there.
Oh my word.
And they are perfectly sized.
All finished. That fast.
All finished.
Hardly hit go and it's finished.
Yeah. So instead of sitting there doing the rotary blade, trying to make sure my manual rotary blade, I'm in love with that part. Yeah.
That was so easy. I'm going to bring this back up here just so you all can see. Those of you that missed what you're working on. Now, hers is much bigger. She was giving you a smaller version. Very, very cute. Very cute. So that rotary blade is really going to change the game for all of us when it comes to cutting crazy fabric that we would think, oh, we can't do that. We don't know how to do that, or it's not going to work. It's going to really change that big time.
Yep. I mean, I can cut wools now that I wasn't able to cut before. I'm not talking wool felt. I was able to do that because it was a more dense fabric. But the wiggle walk, the stuff, fabrics with movement has always been our challenge. Fabric with movement. The rotary auto blade makes that amazing. Now, if you've got a luminaire, doing the applique stitch is a breeze because you can use your projection mode and project your applique stitch down on there to where you can see it. One thing I did learn with felt while I was doing this is that my pivot function is not my friend because felt is loose. And so when you have the pivot on and you go to move, your stitch your project itself may get in the wrong placement. So I turned my pivot feature off, which for me, that is just like the huge thing. And I would manually move it easily. So
that's good to know. That's good to know. By the way, those of you that are looking at some of the new products, I want to put a reminder up. I put down below that the Brother dealers have 0% financing, depending on how much you spend at 60 or 72 months. So be sure to call your Brother dealer if you're looking at any of these new products. And some of the new accessories work on older machines and older ScanNCuts as well. So just call your Brother dealer and you'll find out.
And as I said, you could make this a totally no-sew project. You can glue that on. So Carolyn, I was not doing I wasn't doing an applique that was an applique embroidery design. I manually appliqued that with a machine though. So I didn't hand stitch it, but I did do it with the applique stitch on my machine.
Very fun, very easy.
Now, there are Disney applique designs on Canvas Workspace. I see somebody asking that. And you can get Disney applique designs. There's Disney designs on Canvas Workspace. And you can certainly bring those in to your machine and you can duplicate just like I was doing. Some of the cute ones, the Mickey and Friends applique. You want to share my screen there?
Sure.
The Mickey and Friends applique patterns were cute. The modern Mickey and Disney designs, those two had some really cute things in them that would lend themselves to this application.
Which work great. Excellent. All right.
And the Mickey and Friends applique patterns are stinking cute.
They're really cute. I'll bring this back up. I think, here you go. Those are really cute.
So you could have fun with that. So there's a bow. There's those two heads that we were using. So, I mean, there's quite a few things in there that you can play with.
A lot of fun things. Everybody saying, thank you for the fun project. So just by the way, all the live shows for the next month are all quick and easy projects. Well, maybe quick, maybe like somewhat, but easy. Easy projects you can do with your brother's sewing machine, scan and cut, things like that. So I know we've given you a ton of things on tutorials, but when you have a project to do, then you can sit down, follow along, and end up with something fabulous when you're finished. And don't forget to share your photos on social media and use hashtag #BrotherSews. They love to see what you're working on. Quite often they'll share it. I put Cindy's website down below as well because her live shows this afternoon at 4:30. What are you showing today? More of this?
I'm probably going to show them how I made things line up, how we did the text, the mirroring, and then I'm going to talk more about the new Brother software programs. So, and if I have time, answer some questions that came through over my desk. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, guys, you can make this as complicated as you want or as simple as you want. You could just simply use ribbon, glue it down, and use heat transfer vinyl and use your felts, or you can make it more complex and applique it. It really is up to how much time do you want to spend with this.
And Nikki just has a quick question. Do you have to buy an activation card to work on these?
Yes, you do. The Disney patterns are dealer patterns, so you can buy the activation card from a dealer.
Yes. And brother, thank you for answering for us. Yes, if you want to go back and watch and you would want to do this project, you can even do this project with your kids. It'd be fun too. But just if you're on Facebook, share it to your page. It'll always show up on your page. You go back and watch it, or go to Brother Sews or Brother Crafting YouTube page, and you can go back and binge watch for a long time.
There's tons of shapes on those ScanNCut. So even if you don't have the Disney model and you don't want to do Disney, or if you do want to do Disney, you can grab some of the patterns off of Canvas Workspace, buy that activation card. But if you don't, there's apples, there's all kinds of stuff out there. Mm-hmm. Just have fun. There's stars. It's just kind of a different spin on your average star chart. And the fact that if you had multiple classes in a day, you can just switch out the names.
Exactly. Sherry wants to know, where do I find 10 needle videos? Go to Brother Sews YouTube page. Go back. Cindy had a ton of those last year. And you can probably just put in the search, the 10 needle, and it should come up. Not all of the live videos were titled, though. So you might just want to quickly roll through. At the beginning of each show, we always tell you what we're going to do. So just in
I think did Colleen do a few?
Colleen did. Yeah, you did a lot, though. I was just thinking.
I did tons last fall when we were first releasing. So, and we've done pants on them. We've done a little bit of everything. So.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're welcome, Linda. All right, Cindy, this was a great show. I'm very excited. Looking forward to seeing you this afternoon.
Thank you. And we shall thank you guys for tuning in. You want me to pop that back up? Hold on.
No. Oh, yeah, your little, that's what I thought was up there. I brought it up like, wait, nope, that's
Canvas Workspace. Hold on, there we go. It's back up now.
There you go. There is the finished project, which is so stinking cute. I'm really curious to see the creative ideas people have for this, because I'm still laughing at some of the comments that were rolling through. I didn't bring them all up, but they were pretty funny.
I mean, you really can have fun with this.
Oh, yeah.
Do it, make it your own. You don't have to do exactly what I did. I did my day, and then I gave their names. I did their task across the top. You could do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and the chores down the side.
There you go.
So it all depends on what you want to do, and that was really it was more about the idea than it was about the exactness.
Exactly. Well, Cindy, this was a great show. I'm looking forward to seeing you this afternoon on your channel. And until next month, all of you, thank you for watching as well, because I know there's a lot going on. People are getting ready to go back to school, and we so appreciate you hanging out for the hour. So, brother, thank you for letting us take over your page.
Thanks so much, guys.
Bye.
I'm afraid I have a confession to make. I'm actually here undercover. March, now. I came to Quilt Club to gain the knowledge and insight to help build the best collection of quilting machines Brother has made. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you I was undercover. Can you find it in your hearts to forgive me?
Let's quilt.